Hello, and welcome back to part 3 of my tarot deck walkthrough series. This time we are going to talk about my Marseille and Pip style decks. I suppose we will go ahead and jump right in with the CBD Marseille. And again, my name is Alex. This is the Lazy Genius Tarot and Bazaar. This is the book based on the Nicholas Converse 1760. This is the Yoav Ben-Dov CBD Tarot. It is still in order because I have not started working with Marseille yet, but I have definitely amassed the Marseille decks that I would like to work with when I do start the process. Figure learning Rider-Waite first is probably where everybody else started, so that's where I started myself. So this is a pretty common Marseille deck, really clear lines. These are the backs. Definitely like this deck. I also have the book that he wrote to go with it as well. Next, we will do my most recent, which is the Ancient Tarot de Marseille by Gramod. I have both the pocket or mini and the full-size deck. They're essentially the same deck, but the mini is just small. Really like this deck, actually. Like the colors in it. I like how there's not really too much variation in those colors. These are the backs. Really like this deck. If anybody out there knows how to date Marseille decks, especially Gramod decks, I would like your help. The newest copyright that I can find on this deck is in the 80s, like late 80s, I believe. But if anybody out there knows how to date Marseille decks, please let me know in the comments, and I will definitely get in touch with you because I would like to date this deck. And of course, like I said, with it came the mini. Just pull out a couple of the cards here. Real small. Here's just some of the pips. So, there's that. The Gramod stuff is actually kind of hard to come by from what I hear in the US. I actually got mine from France. So it cost me a little bit of extra money to get my hands on it, but I feel like it was well worth it. Next is going to be the vintage Lateral de Marseille from Fournier, or Fournier, however you say that. I really like this one because the backgrounds all have these sort of vibrant colors to them. The Two of Cups with the info at the bottom there, and of course the trademark Two of Pentacles for Marseille style there. But I really like the colors and the backgrounds on these cards, and it's a pretty cool piece to have in the collection here. The size is a little bit more narrow It'll be fun to work with these cards once I finally start doing the Marseille thing. The box is really old. As you can tell, it's sort of coming apart. I figure once the tuck box on this guy gives out, finally I will probably just end up buying a bag and cloth and wrapping it up like I did my Radiant Rider-Waite. Just a matching bag and cloth, and tie it all up and keep it in that and throw away the box once it finally breaks down all the way on me. So that is the vintage Lateral de Marseille. This one is the 1JJ Swiss. This is actually the 1974 printing of this deck. You see the tuck box is missing the top. It's very weathered. There's probably going to be the need for tape here soon. But again, this is one of those decks. Just get a bag and a cloth once the box finally breaks down and I can't use it anymore. But here are some of the cards. I like the Chariot, how it's kind of broken up into two different pictures. Definitely a cool deck. And the 70s card stock is actually really nice. I like the way that these things feel. It's probably like my number 3 favorite card stock out of all the cards that I have. Really like this deck. Next would be the Playing Marseille. I'm going to end up getting a bag for these because the box is sort of awkward to keep on my table, so I end up having to keep it on a shelf. But this is the box that it comes in. The book that comes inside the box and the cards. It is more of a pocket-sized deck, but the artwork and the way that it is colored, it almost looks like watercolor. It's a super, super nice deck. Ryan Edward really nailed it with this one. And I believe that it's based on the Dodal system because the Lovers card is blindfolded. And I believe the Devil has the face in his belly, which is going to be more Dodal than Conver, or Conver, however you pronounce that. See, with the face in the belly on the Devil card. So I think that this follows more of a Dodal system than a Conver. Really like the majors. And then next up, this is still in order, but there are the courts. So you have the kings of the suits, and then you have the queens, pages, and knights. I think I said that in reverse, but there's the kings. Yeah, it definitely starts off with the pages. My bad. So you start off with the pages. And into the knights. And the queens. And the kings. And then we start into the aces. So it's got the aces next. And then the twos. And it continues on through the rest of the deck just like that. One number after the other. So that's the order that it comes in actually. But that is the Playing Marseille. I can do more of a full walkthrough on that one later. The next one that I'm going to show you is the Triomphe de la Luna from Patrick Valenza. And also I'm just going to go ahead and give you a quick walkthrough of the Abandoned Oracle. This is the Oracle deck that I bought to use with the Triomphe de la Luna. So let's go ahead and walk through this guy. The book for this one is a downloadable. And I really like this deck. I think this is actually my favorite Marseille deck. The card stock is really nice. Patrick Valenza is actually a pretty cool dude too. So, and I will explain what I mean by that here in just a second, because I would have to show you a couple of these cards. So when I bought this deck because of the alternate devil card. I wanted the alternate devil card. That was the reason I bought the deck. And so this deck, when I bought it, it didn't have the alternate devil. It just had the alternate tower card, which you will see here in just a second. Let me see, did I? Oh yeah, no, I didn't take it out. Okay. So here's the original devil, based on more of the Dodal system, I think. I haven't really read too much of the book though, because it's downloadable and I don't really read too much when it's on my phone. But I bought it for the alternate devil card. So this is the original, this is the alternate. And I thought that that was really cool. So that's the original, this is the alternate. And sorry, I didn't show you the backs when I first pulled it out. This is the alternate lightning card or tower. And this is the one that it had in there when I actually received it. But like I said, this was the alternate that I wanted, right? And after I had asked Patrick about the alternate devil card, he responded very quickly and told me that he would have one printed and sent out to me if I could wait for about 3 weeks. I said, no big deal. And then I was reading through the guidebook, because I did read through it once after I downloaded it, but I also noticed that there were 2 other alternate cards, one being the alternate star card. So I believe that this is the original and this would be the alternate. And the alternate judgment card. So here's the moon, the sun. And here's the alternate judgment card, and here's the judgment card that it came with. So when I saw that there were the other 2 alternate cards, and it was literally like the next day, I had contacted Patrick Valenza again, and I had asked him, hey man, I just noticed that there's these other 2 alternate cards as well. Would it be possible for me to get you to print those off for me? I'm even willing to pay for them if need be. And then I didn't really get a response for a while. I figured, you know, oh well, it happens, he's busy, maybe, you know, there's not a way that he would be able to print me the other 2 unless I got the versions of the deck that they came with. There's the world card. But he ended up sending me all of them, and then I actually received them not long after my birthday, because I've had this deck for a while. But I received them not that long after my birthday, and I didn't expect to have all of them in there. So not only did he send me the devil, but as you saw, he sent me the alternate star and the alternate judgment card. So now I have all 4 of the alternate cards for the Triomphe de la Luna. So it started off as my favorite deck. Now he's one of my favorite artists, just because his customer service is superb and his deck is superb, and everything about the whole setup there is super dope. So the Triomphe de la Luna in English, and then here is the Abandoned Oracle real quick. Here's the backs. So the Triomphe de la Luna actually comes with 10 Oracle cards, which I will pull those back out real quick so I can show you. And I would really like Patrick to do a Oracle deck that picks up where this Oracle set of extras at the back of the deck left off. So what I mean by that is there are 10 cards in the mini Oracle, right? So what I would like to see, what I'm hoping eventually that he does, is that he makes a Oracle deck with the same backs that picks up at card 11 and then ends wherever. But that would at least pick up from where this one left off. That way you could have more of a complete Oracle deck that goes directly with the Trionfi della Luna, which would be super cool because sometimes I like to pair Oracle decks with my tarot decks, and I figured that when I started reading Marseille, that this would be a pretty cool one to have that set up with. So, and then next would be my Pip decks. Bear with me 1 second here. The first one I'm going to show you is the Tarot del Toro. This is actually going to be the first deck walkthrough that I do because I just got this deck. It just came out. Everybody's been waiting for it on pre-order, so I am going to do a full walkthrough of this deck. I'm just going to show you a couple of the cards. I do want to leave them in order for the purposes of the walkthrough, but this definitely just came in. I'm not going to show too much of that because you're going to see all of that as soon as I finish up with the collection videos here. The next Pip deck that I have is the Pagan Otherworlds. I still gotta get the book for this deck from Usi because the book is sold separately. This is the bag that I bought for it. This came from Etsy. I figured it, not exact, but it does match pretty well for the deck here. I don't break the seal. I open it from the bottom. And as you can see from the seal here, Pagan Otherworlds 5th edition. I really like this card stock. It's almost too slippery for me, but not quite. I really like this card stock. There's the backs. The moon phase cards, it kind of has like a silver sparkled overlay where the moon is lit. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like a holographic silver glitter almost. Trying to catch it in the light. And then the secret card. And then the pips. This one is more Rider-Waite Smith based as far as a pip deck is concerned. See. It's not exactly a Rider-Waite Smith based pip deck, but there's quite a few cards in here that are based on the art of the Rider-Waite Smith. So, like you see, even though there's not a person in there, the pips are arranged much like the 10 of Wands and the Rider-Waite Smith when the man is carrying them, right? But this is just rearranged as pips. Probably my favorite Ace of Pentacles. This is a beautiful deck. And then the next pip deck that I have would be Clear Goodchild's Antique Anatomy. this deck I have actually started working with and reading. I'm still pretty bound to the book. I'll show you a couple of cards in a second. I just wanted to show you the bag. The bag that I got for it from Etsy actually ended up fitting super well. So some of these pips are set up in a very Marseille style. That's the Fool. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's a Marseille-based deck, though, because the swords or blades in this deck don't necessarily follow that Marseille style. It's really just the batons or the wands that follow that pattern. There's the Judgment card. That's one of my favorite Judgment cards. Really like that card. The Hierophant, the Magician, well, some of the blades do follow that, but not all of them do. See, so you have some of the blades that follow the Marseille style pip arrangement, and then you have other blades that don't. That's what I was looking for there. And then, you know, like your 2 of coins. Super cool deck. I like the way that it's like false aged, but if you look really close, it's almost like they're bordered also. But the card, like, you can kind of see the line right there. So they almost have a border on them, but they look almost borderless. So I like the way that she did that. This is a really cool deck. This is the mass market version. I also have her Lenormand deck, the indie version, which I will show you in the Lenormand video for the collection. And let me see here, any other pip decks? Nope. Outside of that, the pip decks would be Thoth, which I will show you in the next video. So that means last but not least, I have my Italian Marseille deck here, the Toro Fine dalla Torre. It is from Bologna, I think Bologna is how you say that. From the Museo Internacional de Tarocchi. And this is a handmade deck that I got from one of the fellow community members in the Hermit's Cave. It's a little handmade certificate, and the information booklet, or fold out rather, is numbered 78 of 200 and hand signed. So that's pretty cool. I keep it in the bubble wrap until I can find a really cool cloth for it, because the box is definitely big enough to fit this in there wrapped in a cloth, but I want to get the right cloth for it. This is a really cool deck. It is a republication of a deck from the 17th century that was known as the Fine della Torre, which means the end of the tower, I believe is how that translates. And you see that there's no actual titles, and it's all handmade. I really like this deck. Here's the backs. And like I said, I keep it wrapped up in the bubble paper until I can get a good little cloth for it to wrap it in, to keep it in the box with. That is my currently the only Italian classic stamped kind of sort of collector's Italian Marseille that I currently have. I do have an Il Meneghello. I always butcher that when I try to say it, on the way, but that hasn't gotten here yet. That'll probably be a little while yet before that gets to me. But yeah, so there's that. And that would be the end of my Marseille and Pip style decks. I do want to thank you for joining me again. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell there so that you get updated when I put the new videos out. And again, thank you for joining me and have a wonderful day.